You see, President Trump has just pulled off a massive geopolitical power move, one that is currently isolating the Chinese Communist Party on the global economic stage. As things currently stand, over 75 countries around the world have either entered or initiated trade negotiations with the United States, all thanks to President Trump's unapologetic tariff strategy. It's not just diplomacy, really it's economic warfare, and President Trump is winning. What we're witnessing is a total restructuring of the global trade order, with the United States emerging as the undisputed leader, with China being left out in the cold.
Trump just slapped China with a massive 245% tariff threat. And guess what? China didn't just sit there and take it. They pulled the trigger on Boeing, canceling billions in aircraft orders and leaving American workers wondering if their jobs are next on the chopping block. While Grumpy Trumpy is busy tweeting about America first, over 2 million shipping containers are stuck in Chinese ports. That's right, your new iPhone might be floating somewhere in the Pacific Ocean right now. But hey, at least we're winning the trade war, right? Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great, thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video.
Breaking news. United States officials are planning to use negotiations with 70+ nations to ask them to disallow China to ship goods through their countries. The US is reportedly attempting to isolate China. This explains why President Trump said yesterday that countries may have to pick between the United States and China. The strategy appears to be a complete and total isolation of the CCP. Trump's strategy is to leave China out in the cold. And really, all of this is happening because China has refused to negotiate about these tariffs in good faith, and now they're getting desperate, because here's the truth.
Did you know a 245% tariff would turn your $1,000 iPhone into a $3,450 paperweight? That's Trump's brilliant plan to make America great again by making everything Americans buy insanely expensive. Genius. Let's be real, folks. These tariff threats aren't just random numbers Trump pulled out of his MAGA hat. They're actual price tags on stuff you use every day. Your kids' toys? Tripled in price? That medicine your grandma needs? Hope you've got a spare kidney to sell. Electric cars? Forget about it. They'd cost more than your house. Meanwhile, Grumpy Trumpy is tweeting about winning trade wars from his golden toilet, while actual Americans are taking to the streets. And I'm not just talking about blue states. We've got protests breaking out in places where Trump's face is practically on the town flag. Even his most loyal supporters in Wyoming are asking, hey, why does my grocery bill suddenly look like a phone number? The math here isn't complicated, people. When Trump slaps a 245% tariff on medical supplies, that $20 syringe from China now costs $69. Great news if you enjoy paying more for healthcare. I guess Make America Great Again actually means make Americans go bankrupt again. And here's the kicker. While Trump keeps shouting, tariffs work, like it's his new catchphrase, literally everyone else is screaming back, no they don't. Congress knows they don't work. Economists know they don't work. Even your uncle who believes aliens built the pyramids knows they don't work. Wall Street certainly isn't buying Trump's economic fantasies. The market lost a staggering $6.6 trillion after his tariff announcement. That's trillion with a T, as in totally destroyed retirement accounts. But Trump's still out there claiming victory like he just won the Super Bowl of stupidity. But hey, it's not all bad news, unless you're one of the 2 million Americans whose jobs are now hanging by a thread in import-export industries. Turns out, when you make it impossible to do business with our biggest trading partner, companies don't just shrug and say, guess we'll hire more Americans. They pack up and move to Vietnam and Indonesia faster than Trump can say kafef. So while Trump promised that America first would bring jobs flooding back, what it actually means is American workers last, as businesses flee these self-imposed economic sanctions. It's like punching yourself in the face and then blaming your hand for being foreign. Ever wonder what happens when you poke a sleeping economic dragon? China just showed us by delivering a knockout blow to Boeing that has America's aerospace industry seeing stars. The aircraft giant isn't just feeling a little turbulence, they're facing a financial nosedive as China canceled billions in orders faster than Trump changes his story about hush money payments. Boeing's now slashing production by 10%, which means thousands of American workers might soon be updating their LinkedIn profiles thanks to President Tariff's brilliant economic strategy. When a manufacturing giant like Boeing takes a hit, it's not just executives sweating in their corner offices. The entire global aerospace supply chain shakes like Trump's hand when confronted with a water bottle. Those production cuts mean real American jobs disappearing, not the kind Trump Trump claims he created with his fantasy math, but actual paychecks that families depend on to put food on the table and keep roofs over their heads. Meanwhile, at Chinese ports, it's absolute chaos. Over 2 million shipping containers are stuck in limbo, like abandoned props from a weird maritime version of The Walking Dead. These containers are full of products Americans actually want to buy. You know, things we don't make here anymore because we decided manufacturing was too much trouble decades ago.
Their economy is built on one thing: exporting cheap, subsidized products to Western nations. And so now, President Trump is building a global coalition to shut that down.
I believe that China will be forced very soon to come to the table for the simple reason that China's economy is completely dependent on its exports to the United States and to the West. China has built its entire industrial strategy since its entrance into the World Trade Organization on being able to sell highly subsidized, currency-manipulated, dumped goods into U.S. markets. It is an industrial strategy from China to product dump strategically to take out American steel, to take out American aluminum, to take out core American defense industries and defense needs so that we're reliant on China. China is now discovering for the first time that they have met an American president who is not going to be intimidated, who's not going to be bullied, who's not going to be coerced, who's going to stand up for our essential security needs.
In reality, China doesn't have the leverage here. The United States has the leverage.
American retailers are freaking out harder than Trump at a fact-checking convention. They've already canceled more than $300 million in orders, and prices for electronics, medications, and clothing are jumping 5 to 15%. So much for making life affordable for average Americans. But China isn't just playing defense. They're dumping U.S. government bonds faster than Trump dumps wives who hit 40. They're also pulling investments from American tech giants like Apple and Nvidia, basically saying, thanks for the technology lessons, we'll take it from here. And speaking of tech, China's making jaw-dropping advances in semiconductor technology, developing their own DUV lithography tech and testing 5-nanometer chips despite all our restrictions. It's like we thought putting up a no learning allowed sign would actually stop them. The global economy is basically voting no confidence in Trumponomics. The euro has surged a massive 5.03% against the dollar in just 10 days of April 2025. Reaching its highest level in 3 years. That's financial markets screaming M-A-Y-D-A-Y, M-A-Y-D-A-Y, in banker speak. So here we are, folks. Financial experts aren't just worried. They're predicting a global recession with a 60% chance by 2025 if this tariff nonsense continues. And while Donnie Diapers golfs his way through economic disaster, the world is literally forming alliances against us. Canada has vowed to win this trade war. The EU is building payment systems that don't need American dollars. Even our closest allies are treating us like that weird uncle nobody wants at Thanksgiving dinner. As Jimmy Kimmel might say, Trump's economic strategy is exactly like his fake tan, a temporary cover-up that looks ridiculous in daylight and washes away with the slightest reality check.